Welcome back, MTG Joe here. Today we are going to look at the weekly metagame breakdown for the historic best of one format. So we've had about a week and a half so since the set came out, almost 2 weeks, seeing where things are settling. The biggest winners thus far have been the Eldrazi decks, with Eldrazi Temple being added, but we'll see where the meta kind of shakes out. I will say I do think Eldrazi is a better best of 3 deck. It can struggle against fast combo and aggro decks, which best of 1 generally leans a little bit more that way. So that's one thing to kind of note. We are going to get the data from Untapped GG, what you see on the screen. If you want to use Untapped to track your win rates, see stats, link is in the video description. And I will paste and timestamp all these deck lists as well there, so you can find them there. Now, looking at popularity of the day, we have both the Eldrazi decks being the most popular. Gruul Eldrazi, which is kind of constituted of 2 versions. There's a land destruction version, and there's a more quote-unquote aggro version. The Simic Eldrazi is a little bit more mid-rangey. We have Boros Energy, Boros Auras, mono-white life gain, which that and Elves aren't really kind of top-tier decks, but they have a high play rate. And then Izzet Wizards at about 2%. We are seeing kind of Auras fall, and then the increase in the Eldrazi decks kind of since the beginning of the month. We're going to look at 12,000 games from Diamond and Mythic rank. Highest win rates, actually, Rakdos, and we use Rakdos very lightly. Mono Red Fling as the highest. So this is a deck, no leyline, but you have Kiln Fiend, you have Slickshot Show Off, Swiss Spear, you have both this Cacophony Scamp as well. No Dreadhorde or Heartfire Hero. It's technically nerfed in this format. It's an 0-1. But just creatures, throw pumps, things like Turn Inside Out, Swiss Spear's teaching for kind of haste effects and prowess. Rage, Felliness Rage, Dreadmaw's Ire. Just pump a whole bunch of power into them and then fling them with Calisel Sword or Thud. Just a very kind of linear-oriented deck. So you have utility lands, Fiery Islet can cycle, you have Ramanap Ruins, you have Barbarian Rings, all ways that can have added damage if in case you flood. Probably wouldn't be playing Mount Doom, it's a little expensive, and you are playing quite a few pain lands, but that would be kind of I don't think you need this many in terms of utility, like these ping lines. When you have 8, 12, 13, there's a chance you just ping yourself to death. Mono Black Sacrifice or Mono Black Jet Storm. So this deck here, I mentioned it last week, but some of them I've seen have Sephiroth in there just as another way to kind of go off with the combo. Core of the deck is with Jet Medallion out. It reduces the cost of your black spells, making Cthulhian Nightmare 1 mana. Then you can loop 2 copies of Greedy Freebooter, Shambling Ghast, any combination. When they die, they make a treasure. So it pays for the nightmare back and that goes back to your hand, so you can recast it, do it over and over again. And then you will basically create either Infinite Storm, sometimes you'll see Tendrils, but you have Marionette Apprentice that would drain them out. Priest of Gix is another way that you can kind of net the mana, playing them over and over again. Chittering Skull Speaker helps you draw extra cards. And then Mausoleum Secrets helps you, and Diabolic Intent helps you dig for kind of combo pieces in that regard. Persist Combo, 77%. So this deck here is looking to self-mill Otherworldly Gaze, Looting. You have the Izzet Charm, Tigan Scheming, just ways to put cards into your graveyard. What you're trying to do is persist back a Scholar of the Lost Troves. Capricious Hellkite's not as necessarily guaranteed, but what you do is when they come in, you cast Emergent Ultimatum, and then you can get just some big spells. You can alternatively do like Breach, Verdant Rejuvenation for a whole bunch of spells, Expropriate for extra turns. Conspiracy Unraveler also is kind of another way to win, where you can collect evidence and then cast spells from your hand, which can then like chain you together, like extra copies of Breach the Multiverse, for example, or just dig you into more of the combo pieces. So that's kind of the deck in a nutshell. We have Boros Auras, pretty stock list. So this deck here is built around Light Paws and Core Spirit Dancer. What you're trying to do is throw on a bunch of auras onto them. Demonic Ruckus, you can plot on turn 1. Turn 2, you can Light Paws, cast the Ruckus for free, and get Sheltered by Ghost to remove something, give him built-in ward, or just extra kind of card draw. You have protection effects in Giver of Ruins, Esper Sentinel as kind of a tax effect, and then this version here is on Amped Raptor. Against more mid-rangey threats, the Amped Raptor is better. Against a lot of ETB style threats, then Hushbringer is better. So kind of a meta call in terms of which one you want to play in the deck. Abzan Amalia combo. So this deck here creates an infinite loop of life gain, and then you blow up the board. You make an Amalia infinitely or pseudo infinitely big. So how it works is when Amalia comes into play, or you need Amalia and Wild Growth Walker and a way to trigger a life gain cycle. Because what happens is whenever you gain life, you explore. Whenever you explore, you gain 3 life. So you have like Guide of Souls, Prosperous Innkeeper, Soul Warden, Luminarch Veteran, or the new one, Hyla Guide by Light. So gains life, and then at the beginning of your end step, if you gain 3 or more life a turn, you get to draw a card, so some card advantage. You can tutor into the combo with either Court of Calling or try to find it through Collected Company. Amalia, if you do it like on your opponent's end step, you untap basically with an Amalia that's huge and kill your opponent. And then you can also Aetherflux Reservoir and just 50 shot your opponent. By digging through Explore, you can always find the reservoir. We have Samcat combo. So this combo here, you loot a Samwise Gamgee, Cauldron Familiar, and any form of sacrifice outlet, whether it be Goblin Bombardment. This version's on Bartholomew. I think playing the new 2 mana 3/2 sack outlet, the mono black one, is better in this particular deck. The one from Edge of Eternities, given that it's not legendary and the sack lets you put Surveil, so it does let you kind of dig further to the combo, because you could run into a case where you just hit multiple Bartholomew and then you kind of lose some value there. Birthing Witcherel helps you dig into the combo. You have Goblin Trap Finder and Unlucky Witness that serve as card advantage, and then you have kind of the fair Johnny Amped Raptor. I say fair, but more fair kind of line with that, where you can just play like a fair non-combo game. Cauldron Familiar is also incidentally a cat to trigger a Johnny. First Eldrazi deck, we have Gruul Eldrazi, the slightly more aggressive version of the deck, that's 71%. So with the combination of Urza's Labyrinth and Eldrazi Temple, you have multiple lands that can produce 2 mana for Eldrazi spells. And then you have kind of these caverns, Unclaimed Territory, Secluded Courtyard, all those ways to fix your mana and then give you some color effects. So the big lines are obviously an early Sowing Mycospawn can help you ramp and also blow up your opponent's lands. Thought-Knot Seer is like a Thoughtseize style effect. Glaring Freshraker pings and makes more tokens, Eldrazi spawn tokens, as you cast more colorless spells. Eldrazi Linebreaker just adds a whole bunch of power and haste based on the number of Eldrazi. Chalice can lock out your opponent from spells. Hit That Heralds is a cost reduction and an Anthem. It also works with your Eldrazi spawns, so they become 1/2s. Kozilek's Command is kind of a fireball with the Fleshraker and is also an Eldrazi spell, so these lines count 2 mana for it. Just flexible, Graveyard Hay, card draw, tokens, and removal. The Waterscape Battle Mage can be kicked. It gives you an option to either bounce or exile an artifact or enchantment, or bounce a target creature to an opponent's hand. And lastly, Devour Destiny sets up your draws, helps you find your temples, then blows up stuff, and then Cyrus 7 Deaths, just keyword soup. A lot of things, very strong, very hard to deal with for some decks. We then go to Izzet Wizards. So this deck here, 69%. You have your Wizard package, Slickshot, Balmor, Dreadhorde, Symmetry Sage, as well as Soulscar Mage. The Swiftspear's Teaching can give haste and prowess to a card. Prowess stacks, so multiple instances of prowess work, so you get each spell gives +2 power then. Really strong lines are Teachings into Dreadhorde, immediately attack, flashback Teachings again. So it's also playing Illuminating Lash. Think of it as basically a sorcery speed lightning strike, but you get whenever you cast the next non-creature spell, you draw a card. So it's a nice way to kind of keep the card advantage going. Reckless Charge for some more haste. This one's got Fading Hope for some cheap interaction. Flame of Anoran here. Just a way to deal with artifacts, a way to either draw some cards, doubles up when you have a wizard, also deals 5 damage. And then Wizard's Lightning is, because they won't give us Bolt in this format, we have Bolt at home. Elk, Gengantha Companion. We have Jun Sorin, Sorin Tell. So this one's got 2 combos to the deck. You have Sorin Impervious Bloodlord, -3. You put in Saint Elenda, draft from its spellbook, gains you life, controls your opponent's best thing, and makes you a 4/4 on your end step. You also have through self-milling, so things like Faithless Looting, Malevolent Rumble, you can put into your graveyard Ulamog the Defiler, and then with Emperor of Bones, you can exile it and then make a token copy of it. It sees itself in exile, it gets haste, so it has the counters on it, and then it immediately annihilates your opponent's whole board. Bunch discard, assemble the team, helps you find a combo, and then you have Jarsoul that just kind of rebuys you stuff, kind of grinds out your opponent that way there. We have Izzet Thopters, 67%. So this deck here is what's referred to often as Affinity, so cards that care about artifacts. So Emery costs as little as 1 mana, same with Thought Monitor based on the number of artifacts. Kappa Cannoneer can improvise, so tapping artifacts, and then get a reduced cost, so as little as 1 mana. This one's playing 2 new cards in Pinnacle Emissary. So for 1 mana, you can warp it, and then each subsequent artifact you cast creates a 1/1 Thop or drone token. So not a Thopter, which is kind of relevant in this deck, but a drone. And then this helps with your affinity. You're basically getting Kappa. You have a bunch 10 0 mana artifacts that can trigger it. Similarly, we have Tezzeret, Cruel Captain, 3 mana, 4 loyalty, and whenever an artifact you control enters, you put a loyalty counter on it. It ultimates at 7, where it animates an artifact. So kind of turn your artifacts into creatures. -3 can search for an artifact, 1 CMC or less, and then the 0 just untaps an artifact or creature, and then if it's a creature, you get to put a counter on it. You have the Retrofitter Foundry Ornithopter, so basically turns all your 0 drops into 4/4s. Galvanic Blast is just 4 damage if you have Affinity. Lots of ways to kind of flip the Emery through drawing, like through Thought Monitor, and then Emery can just do loops with your cheaper stuff as well. They said it couldn't be done. The Mad Lads, they did it. Mardu Energy Sorin combo. So we have Mardu Energy, or Boros Energy. So Amped Raptor, Johnny, Osset's Pride, Guide of Souls, the energy package kind of mixed into there. And then you just have Sorin and Elenda. So good that why don't we just play it in every deck? Obviously the non-bow Amped Raptor can hit these and you don't get to cast them potentially, but if you have a lot of energy, potentially can. You do have Grease Wrench Goblin that can in a pinch just discard them, get you some value there, but just a funny deck I wanted to share. It's actually putting up reasonable results. So then we have like the actual Boros Energy deck. This one is adopting Corey Steelcutter. So second spell cast each turn, you get a monk, notably Amped Raptor on its own. So not the turn you cast it if you go into Corey Steel, but subsequent turns on its own can potentially turn on the Corey Steelcutter. This one's on 4 mana Tithe main. You got Fragment as your removal, Galvanic, so no Static Prison. Instead, just kind of going that route. Esper Sentinels kind of mixed in for some more tax style effects. We then have Gruul Land Destruction Eldrazi. So similar concepts with your kind of mana. You have the Eldrazi Temples, Ugin's Labyrinth. This one's looking to get out an early Stone Rain, so as early as turn 2 through like Utopia Sprawls. You also have Sowing Mycospawn that blows up lands, as well as Worldbreaker. And then you have Malevolent Rumble helps you ramp, the Torpor shuts off ETBs. All the Eldrazi stuff is cast triggers, so it doesn't matter about the ETB. And then just kind of overlap with there. And then lastly, we have Simic Eldrazi, 57%. So again, a lot of the overlap. This one's playing a little bit bigger on curve. We have Ugin's Binding that can bounce something, and then if you cast a 7-drop and it's in your graveyard, you get to cast it for free. Think of it as a Cyclonic Rift in the graveyard. You have Null Drifter, which if you evoke it for 3 mana works, where you get to basically cast the Ugin's Binding for free, so it works that way there. You have Ugin on the top end, 1 Emrakul, and then this one's got a Karn package that can get you your Karn board. So you have like Godpharaoh Statues, attacks effect against like decks that are looking to play a bunch of cheap spells or low land counts. 1 ring for card advantage, shut off ETBs with Torpor, blow up lands or shut off activated abilities with Liquid Metal Coating with Karn. Activated abilities, Artifact Enchantment Hate, and Graveyard Hate. So that's it for the week. Let me know what you've been playing, what you think of the format with the Eldrazi Overlords, and we will catch you next time. Thanks for watching.